You.
Woof, there we are. The one thing I don't like about this is that like when it finally says you're live, the timer's already on like 2 or 3 seconds,
Yeah.
and it's like, how long
So
have I
you're
been making a
standing there
weird
like,
face? All right, so here we are, everybody. Happy Wednesday the 5th.
yes.
I'm Chris Philbrook. You may know that because this is going to all the pages with my name on it. And then this guy, he's over here for me. I don't know what side he's on for you, but that's Anthony Castro. And
What's up,
Anthony,
guys?
Anthony is the person in charge of the owner and creator of Dead Man Walking Comics, which you've probably seen me talk about a few times in the last, I don't know, 2, 3 months, because he's working on a comic called Bad Wabbit.
Right.
And I want to talk about it today with everybody because the Kickstarter for it just launched. And I know we've got a lot of Kickstarters going on, but this is a totally different thing. And it deserves extra attention today because it's a really cool comic. And also because I edited it and
Yes,
helped
sir.
Anthony, refine the story and get it to a point where, he felt really good about it and it was interesting and compelling and whatnot. So um, I'm going to do like a little brief interview with Anthony, make him really nervous, talk about his personal feelings, and then if anybody has any questions for me about anything or for Anthony about anything, just jump in. But Anthony, thanks for jumping on. I know it's
Absolutely.
a stressful day on Kickstarter launch day because you're wondering what the hell's going to happen, and
Oh man, it has been quite the ride today.
yeah, well, yeah. So Anthony messaged me one day saying that he was a fan and that he did, art and had a little T-shirt company that he was working on, and he did hoodies as well. And we just, wound up talking from there and there and there. And he wanted to do a comic, and weeks went by, months went by, and he got closer and closer to it becoming a thing. Why, Anthony? Why? What
um,
was the reason, the push for this? I know, but they don't.
well, the whole reason it came to be was initially I had heart failure. I had gotten, uh, I lost my job. I was in bed for months, recouping from my heart failure. Was told I was dying. I'm still fighting that. But in that time, I started drawing and I came to really like drawing. And one of my characters that I drew was Bad Wabbit. He was just a doodle, nothing more. But after drawing quite a few other versions of Bad Wabbit, many people were like, "Hey, man, that's a really cool looking rabbit, and he would probably look cool in a comic book or something, or some kind of character like development." And I said, "Well, let's give it a try." So, in my naivety, I tried to write or tried to draw a comic book. I had no script. I was literally just drawing pictures uh, as I saw them fit, and that didn't work out too well. Needless to say, but you really pushed me to draw or write actual script,
Mhm.
and I did, and to my surprise, it was good.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty cool, and I really dig the adventure that he's set out on as Bad Wabbit, and I really think a lot of people are going to really be able to gravitate towards it as well.
Hmm.
Um, he's an every guy, he's just like he's down and out alcoholic. He just wants to be left alone in his own little hovel, But that's not the cards he got dealt, though.
So the one of the things that's cool about the story is it's apocalyptic.
Yeah,
So it takes place a really, really, really long time after the fall of mankind. Hey, Dave, um, and the creatures of Earth that were left behind um, wind up taking over the world,
yeah,
and becoming more humanoid and picking up all of our bad habits and stuff like that.
basically.
And so he's like in the ruins of civilization, and everyone else is just trying to make do. And like he's a bouncer at a bar that's inside a crashed space shuttle.
Yeah.
And the rest of the surroundings is all pretty much that.
Hey,
And
Carl.
I think it's a great parallel for me, right? Because
Uh-huh.
the series that I'm most well known for, Adrian's is he's kind of an everyman.
Yeah.
Nothing really about him is remarkable. He has some skills, he has some talents, he's done some stuff, but like really he's not exemplary in any way, and he has to find himself through the story, right?
Exactly.
And Wabbit, the first issue of Wabbit is obviously not his entire arc,
No.
but when we were talking about it, he very much is going to follow that sort of like finding himself, that redemption arc.
Oh
And I
yeah.
love stories like that, right? Because I spent years writing one. So for me, right, it hits like a lot of those same notes of the stuff that I like. It's apocalyptic, it's end of the world, there's like weird creatures and monsters, there's like
Oh yeah.
technology, and we have a main character that's kind of a shithead that really needs to work on himself. And he's a wabbit, right? So how bad could it be?
Well, we're gonna see.
Right. It's definitely not for kids.
No.
Wabbit is a hard drinking, hard working, foul mouthed little fella,
Yeah.
who, I mean, he's endearing in that sort of like you want to help him way, or at least make him go away way. Um,
I'd
and
say the latter.
and yeah, it's fun. So
Yeah, he like when we first meet Wabbit in this first issue, he's burnout. Like I mean the very essential term for like a burnout. He's living in a trailer that I don't even know if it has wheels anymore. It's just like parked on the side of the road and in front of the bar. He just decided that's where he's going to stay.
mhm.
He bounces for drinks. He doesn't even get paid money, so, so he gets paid in whiskey and cigarettes, and that's all that matters to him. Uh, and that's great.
Mhm.
It's just great. And so, like when we first meet him, he's like totally hungover, and he's like totally wasted, and he's just trying to get another drink. And
Mhm.
his day does not go according to plan.
So I brought up the Kickstarter,
There
and
we
one of
go.
the things that you know as somebody who has one toe in the comic industry, and I've worked on some stuff and interacted with a bunch of comic book creators. One of the things that has become the default is either you're with one of the 4 or 5 major comic book companies,
Mhm.
or you go to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it's becoming now where a lot of those like mid-tier comic books also go to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So there's like Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, a few more up near the top, and they just release and go to comic book stores and stuff like that. But then there's like the mid tiers below that, and they often go to Kickstarter. So a lot of people are sick of Kickstarter, but if you're into comics, if you're into supporting independent creators, Kickstarter is where you go now. That's just where you go. Like I saw a statistic the other day that Kickstarter actually has a vice president of comic book projects.
Wow.
So like in their executive board of directors, there's one person whose job it is to make sure comic book projects, function appropriately. That's how many they have on their platform.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, thousands. So it's a great place to find creators, and it's the perfect place for you to build the funding you want to to pay for the art, and pay for production and whatnot. And I brought up the page here mainly because I I wanted to show people the main cast of characters in the video there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play the video, but can you just tell us like a 30-second intro? We know Bad Wabbit in the center, but who are the other three?
Okay, so the on the far left there on my screen, I guess it's Space Monkey. He is a anthro monkey who found a spacesuit. He practically lives in it, and he runs the shuttle bar across the street from where Bad Wabbit has parked his hovel of a trailer, and that's who he bounces for, and he pays him in drinks and cigarettes. That's pretty much their relationship. The little pink guy there with the gas mask, that's Toxic Pig. He is not, despite what people may think, he is not an anthro. He is not a mutated, well, he is, but not in the same way all the other anthros are. He is actually a science experiment that was done lots of science experiments on. I will get into that later on through the series as to who he really is and what he's really capable of. Let's just say the gas mask is not to keep out toxic fumes, it is to keep them in. Uh, you want to have a bad day, take that mask off. You're going to have a really bad day. Uh, on the far right, you have Foxy Fox. Now, Foxy Fox is interesting. She was a slave. She was sold, like many of the anthro children in this world, into slavery because there's not like a law against it anymore. So it's kind of like if someone comes across a kid, they pick him up, throw him in the orphanage, and then they get bought and used as they want to be used. But she was finally got tired of being a slave, ended up killing her master, taking over his immaculate ship that she renamed Red Fox, and now she pirates. That's what she does. She pirates the uh, post-apocalyptic world, and she does a very good job of it.
So to clarify, when Anthony says the ship, Red Fox, um, it's an airship.
Yes, it is an
It's not
airship.
like it's not on the ocean. It floats in the sky. So it's obviously there's like some futuristic technology and stuff going on. But
Yes.
yeah, she's like our brigand that comes in and shakes up Wabbit's kind of misery, better or for worse.
She definitely does that. I
She's
wanted to
kind of
make it an airship because I was thinking I wanted to be on a ship, but it is a dried out, messed up planet. So there's probably not going to be a lot of oceans and lakes around. So how would she go about pirating the world? And I figured airship was the best way to do it. And I've seen
totally.
variations of airships, blimps and whatnot. And I was like, how cool would it be to put a badass pirate ship and attach it to a blimp and just kind of have it terrorizing the world, terrorizing everything, And
It's a lot of fun.
say again.
I said it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And what we haven't got into yet, but not to give too many spoilers away because it's like on the first page of the comic book, but there's empire that is kind of kind of controlling the planet, much like, I guess you could say, much like the empire from Star Wars. You have your spots where they aren't there, and that's one of the spots that Bad Wabbit lives in. But ultimately, they kind of control the environment, the world. They don't let people heal the planet because they have so many resources that they would lose a lot of their power if anybody was allowed to heal the planet. To do anything about the toxicities and the pollutions and stuff like that. So we are definitely going to be getting involved with fights with the Imperial pangolins later on down the road. Pangolin, by the way, was Chris's idea. he came up with the pangolin, and the ring of it, the way it came off the tongue, the Pangolin Empire. Cool. I was like, yes, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, they're like armored armadillo monster creatures. It just seemed like a cool fit to have them like marching around in their own little apocalyptic version of stormtrooper armor.
Yeah. And I thought it was cool so visual. Good, man. It was so cool. So we're definitely going to be having that. I was listening to some song last night, some classical music, and it was just this awesome like march, like imperialistic kind of thing. And I was like, in my head, I'm envisioning this air battle between Red Fox and this Imperial Army airship. And I was just like, dude, that's gonna be awesome. I
I
can't
love
wait to
those
get to
moments.
that part.
So on the Kickstarter here, for those of you who are interested in backing it, I'm not going to go into all the details, but we've got a whole bunch of levels that he and I kind of worked on together to get people, every opportunity to jump in. There's some low levels, there's some high levels. You can see I backed it. There's digital copy only. There's you can just order a sketch that Anthony will bust out for you, custom kind of thing. And then at $20 you get the comic and it's signed, which is not that much money for a comic book Kickstarter when you factor in the fact that a ton of effort went into this thing. A
Lots
script
of
was
effort.
written, 24 pages were illustrated. There are multiple covers that are floating around out there. A lot of work went into this, so $20 is really not that big a deal. But then you come down here and I said that Anthony talked to me about how he worked with a t-shirt company that he ran, and parallel with that he has all the Bad Wabbit merchandise, right? So you can get shirts of the main characters that we just talked about, with the exception of Space Monkey, because he wasn't sure if that was going to be in demand. But then you can also get cool stuff like hoodies, and then down here's a flag, the
That
Red
is
Fox
the flag
banner,
of the Red Fox.
which I thought was really cool. And then if you're a retailer, you can back to get a whole bunch of copies, and then he's got 3D printed models
Yeah,
of
those are cool.
Foxy and Wabbit, which he's getting painted, pro painted.
Yep.
And if you're into that cool kind of collectible, that's just an awesome way to support the.
Uh-oh.
And then you can see he's got some of his concept stuff, and then eventually you can see how it got ported over into the final
Yeah,
professional.
go back up to the other one. The one I did. Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to do. I had no script. I was just thinking, what would it look like as a comic book? And I tried my best. And to me, my best was not good enough. And then we found Tommy. Now, his name is Lian Xinxi. He's from China. Uh, Very cool dude. Very, very good artist. And is he's just phenomenal. I can't even tell you like how cool. Look at that. I mean, that was written on a page and I wasn't sure how it was going to translate, but he killed it, man. He did a really good job of all that. And
It looks great.
man, and the thing is, he is so invested in it. Like I haven't even been able to pay him the full amount yet for the comic book. He's still, but he's still asking me if he can start on the next one. So like he is so invested in it. Can I add an extra 8 to my pledge to get the sticker? I believe that's possible, right?
She should be able to, Bernice, you should be able to go into manage your pledge. So if you could just go to the Kickstarter page and then scroll there somewhere that says manage pledge. And if you
Yeah.
click on that, the sticker is available as an add-on, I think for $5. I forget the
I
exact
think it's
number that
eight
we set
bucks.
it at. To manage pledge, and then you'll see the sticker, and then you can just click it to add it, and you can do that.
Yeah, I mean those stickers are cool.
Yeah. So didn't see any add-ons. We might need to tweak it.
Yeah,
It's possible.
yeah. So we'll
It
check
does
it.
need to be tweaked and added on. No problem. It shouldn't take long to fix. We can just send you. Anyway, so the big thing that I wanted to touch on for my fans who are tuning in to kind of listen to the story of this comic book, the big thing that I wanted to put on people's radar is Anthony lives in Austin, Texas, and around Austin, Texas, and I haven't been to Texas in probably 8 years now, and we do is if it funds at 3,000, which is a pretty reasonable number to get for a comic book. We print it. He signs everything. He sends it out. Gets all the merchandise ordered and whatnot. But if we can get the 3330, which is the three threes, to pay homage to Adrian's story, I'm gonna fly down. I'm gonna buy a round trip plane ticket and fly down to Austin. Probably the first week of October is what we're looking at. Timeline wise, everything looks like it jives. And then Anthony's sister has a comic book shop, weird, right nearby where he lives, and she's agreed to host us for a meet and greet and a signing. So the hope is that in early October, if this funds and if we get to that first stretch goal, which is only a couple $100 extra, we'll be able to sit in the same room, and then we'll be able to sign the comic books like there together. And then do the whole stack of however many get ordered, and then some extras for us to bring home and ship out to stores and whatnot.
Yes.
And it'll be like a regular old meet and greet. You'll be able to come and hang out and shoot the poo and just basically get to hang out with me. So if you live in Texas or you're relatively local to the Austin area, any support you show the project will help us get to that little activity. So
yeah, that's going to be amazing, man. That's going to be so much fun. My sister's store, Titan Moon Comics, it's right on the inside or right on the edge of Cedar Park in Austin. And it's a cool little shop. They got a lot of really cool stuff. And she already said we could come and do all that. Just let her know. And I'm excited, man. That's going to be so fun.
I agree. I'm very optimistic that we'll get there. And I'm hoping to fly down. Having not been down in a long time, it'll be down there, and it'll be awesome to just hang out with you and just be in the presence of someone that you've worked with for a while and time together, and that's always fun. So
it is.
So if anybody has any questions about the Kickstarter, you can message Anthony. If you want to drop your links in the comments.
Yeah, I was about to do that.
Where they can connect with you directly. And I'm a collaborator on the Kickstarter, so my Kickstarter account is linked to it, so I can kind of see behind the scenes and give him a hand on the back end. So if you're interacting with the Kickstarter, I can see those messages, I think, as well, and I can lend a hand here and there, but it's primarily Anthony's job. Or you can just message me directly if you have a question for me specifically. But yeah, it's awesome. Hopefully I can get down to Texas and have that event in October, and we can get these comics made and shipped out. I know we've got comic book stores that are interested in copies. Most of my local comic book stores are looking to get at least a few, just because I'm local and it'll be fun.
Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash said to send them some, so
perfect.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah. And like I joke, well, I don't joke, but I beat the dead horse a lot with the idea of like these projects, these Kickstarters, these indie creator moments, they're where people can help these creators, make their dream. And yeah, it's cliched, and yeah, I've said it 1,000 times, but the reality is, Anthony's wanted to make a comic book for a long time.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where you can send him $10, send him $20 and help his dream become real. Right. And latching my fat ass onto his dream, I've always wanted to work in comic books. Like ever since I was like 9 years old, I thought it would be amazing to have my own comic book. And, I'm a published author now, and I have all these great books that have sold a ton, but I still don't have a comic book. So, that's been a little thorn in my side. And, I was happy to work with you on it, and I'm super happy to see your dream, but also my dream is on there too.
Yeah.
So when that comic book releases and, you're holding it in hand and I'm holding it in hand, that's going to be a moment.
It is.
That's going to be moment,
It's just like a pivotal moment in my life because up until this point, man, I was very much like Bad Wabbit, like I was not in a good space, but having heart failure really changed my perspective on life. And I've changed quite a lot. I mean, you wouldn't recognize me if you went back 7 years, you know. So this is like a dream come true. Working with you, I mean, like I was a fan before we ever actually talked. So it's kind of like it's surreal, so this is like a big thing for me, and not just me, but my family, because uh, if this takes off and does well, which I have a lot of faith that it will, I think that it's going to change our lives in general too. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be great.
Me too. I'm very optimistic. So. All right, everybody, I gotta go home, or I gotta go help my kids go to bed pretty soon. So
I was going to say, aren't you home?
yeah, Anthony, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And everybody, the links are in the comments and stuff like that. The link to the Kickstarter's in the video. And like I said, if you're from the Texas area and you want me to make it down there in October, you can help buy the plane ticket. So, and help make dreams come true and start, the publication of this series. And, hopefully we can see the other 4 or 5 that he's got, in his head. And I'm happy to help with that. And it's just awesome. So
it's going to be great.
All right, man.
All
Everybody
right.
have a good night.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.